Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharyaparyantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Ramo Rajamani Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Bihata Nishacharachamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. Ramannasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham. Rame Chittalaya Sada Bhavatu Me Bho Rama Mamuddhara Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidwaram Satgurum Brahma Vidwaram. Om Bhadram Karneebhiः Shrunuyama Devaः Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraः Sthirairangaistustuvagum sastanubhiः Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuः Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravah Swasti nः Pusha Vishwavedaः Swasti nastarksho arishtनेमिः Swasti no बृहस्पतिर्दधातु. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Chinmaya Satgurave Namaha. 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 Sixth mantra. Yattadadreshyam agrahyam agotram avarnam achakshushrotram tadapanipadam nityam vibhum sarvagatam susukshmam tadavyayam yadbhuta yonim paripashyanti dhiraha. Sixth mantra was indicating the Lakshana, the indicators of Akshara Tattva. That truth, having shifted attention to which one can abide in one's own self, that knowledge which does this is called as Paravidya. That knowledge which turns our attention to the self, that knowledge is called as Paravidya. Out of all these statements which are there in this Paravidya, the only one that is able to accomplish this is our Brahmakara Vritti. Akara means form, Vritti means thought. If I have some Vishaya, some object in front of me, my mind takes form of that Vishaya. That is called as Vishaya Akara Vritti. Now, I am a seeker of truth. I say I am not interested in Vishaya. I want to abide in Brahma. So that Vritti which will help us shift attention from Vishaya to Brahma is called as Brahmakara Vritti. What is Brahmakara Vritti? How to invoke it? How to strengthen it? And what exactly does Brahmakara Vritti do? What is Brahmakara Vritti? First question. Second is how to invoke it, how to strengthen it. Third is what is the precise role of Brahmakara Vritti? This is your homework. You can go back to Vedanta Sara 171 through 180 and just look at whether we get answers to this question or not. What is this Brahmakara Vritti? In whom will it rise? How to invoke it, how to strengthen it? And precisely, what does Brahmakara Vritti do? Brahman, which never becomes an object, how come it is able to take akara of that Brahman? Brahma akara is said, right? Vishaya I can understand. It has attributes. Thought will take form of those attributes. But Brahma is something which is attributeless. How was it able to take form of Brahma? Now the symbolic side of this mananam. Next class I will recap. After you all go through it, the Brahmakara Vritti portion. We'll begin our next class with just recapping whatever we saw in Vedanta Sara. But I feel it's helpful first if we go through it ourselves and then we have the recap instead of doing it other way around. The symbolic side of this is Shivaratri is coming Friday. Our thoughts, they are called as Pashu. Just like cattle and animals, they keep running around here and there. Like that, our thoughts keep running around here and there. The Lord of all thoughts is Pashupati. The Lord of all my thoughts, the one who is witnessing, gracing all my thoughts, that is Pashupati, Bhagwan Shiva. Amongst all those Pashus, there is one very special Pashu. His name is Nandiji. He is also a Pashu. But he is very, very special. What is his speciality? You see, Nandi Bhagwan always looks at Bhagwan Shiva. Whoever comes, whoever goes, he is not interested in the Shiva temple. His eyes are always on Bhagwan Shiva. Only such Pashu becomes fit to become vehicle of Bhagwan. That Pashu which has turned attention away from everything else, wants to keep looking at Lord Shiva, Bhagwan chooses Nandiji as his Vahana. And riding on Nandiji, he comes, destroys Tripurasura, burns down Kamadeva. All these Leelas he does, riding on Nandiji, his Vahana. So Pashus are our thoughts. Bhagwan Shiva is Pashupati. And Nandiji's single-pointed quest represents a pure mind. That mind which is seeking self-abidance, that mind which is not going after Vishayas. In that mind, Bhagwan's grace dawns as Brahmakara Vritti. That Vritti which is capable of shifting attention away from Vishayas, part of it came through sadhana. Part of shifting from Vishaya to consciousness, that desire came from sadhana, his own willpower. But the real switch happens from anatma to atma. Taking mind away from anatma and bringing it to atma, that is the role of Brahmakara Vritti. And once this Brahmakara Vritti takes root, then Tripurasura is destroyed. The notion that I am Sthula Sharira, one Pura, one city. Tripurasura means the one who lived in 3 cities. And his boon was, unless the 3 cities line up and one arrow pierces, I should not die. And 3 palaces were there, which were flying palaces. If you find him in one palace and you try to shoot an arrow there, he would switch to another palace. You go there, he will go to some other palace. He was surviving like this. His condition was all three palaces have to line up, all three cities have to line up, and one arrow should pierce it. Those are three shariras: Stula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira. This Jiva also keeps jumping from one city to another. In waking state, predominantly he is in Stula Sharira. Dream state is in Sukshma Sharira. Deep sleep state is in Karana Sharira. And the one arrow of Lord Shiva is Brahmakara Vritti. That which removes this notion of Jivatva, removes this notion that I am this Sharira. So that is the power of this Brahmakara Vritti. It is with the same Vritti that he burnt Kamadeva. Means whatever thoughts are rising in this mind, on the strength of Brahmakara Vritti, a sadhaka can look at it as an appearance. Bada means what? Removing the reality given to it, negating it in its substratum. How do we do Bada of wave? By understanding it is nothing but water. We don't have to physically destroy it. How do we do Bada of thoughts? By understanding that it is nothing but consciousness. Just like he did Bada of thought, he also does Bada of Jagat. Not by physically destroying it, but understanding that this is nothing but an appearance in consciousness. Having done that Bada, opened his third eye, burned Kamadeva, then he takes that Bhasma, applies it on his body. Chita Bhasmalepaha Srugapi Nrukaroti Parikaraha. Chita Bhasmalepaha, having negated this world of names and forms, the Mithya Jagat which is there, that he is wearing as his Vibhuti, that represents life of a Jivan Mukta. Having understood the truth, that same world becomes an ornamentation. His vision towards that world becomes an ornamentation, living in that same world without bondage. This is the Adhyatmika Leela of Bhagwan Shiva in a story format. Pashu, Pashupati, Nandi Bhagwan represents Brahmakara Vritti. In that consciousness, in that Vritti, there is Chaitanya Pratibimba, which is grace of God. Out of all thousands of Vrittis that we have, this is one Vritti which will save us, which will take us to our own true nature, shift attention away from these conditionings. Initially, it will be a lot of self-effort. Every Lakshana we will have to hold on to. Every Lakshana we will have to think about, reflect. One Mahatmaji, he would say, when a child learns to write alphabets, even if he has to write apple, he will say the letter and write A, P, P, L, E. Like that, when we start our spiritual journey, whatever Lakshanas of Brahma are there, we'll have to keep repeating it over and over again. But it should reach a point where we can effortlessly write that letter, effortlessly write that word. In the same way here also, Brahma Lakshana should become effortless. I don't need to repeat everything every time. It should naturally come whenever I want to invoke it. Means Brahmakara Vritti also should become effortless. Okay. So that we can reflect 171 through 180. Next class we will start from there. We'll continue with our Lakshanas of Akshara. We had seen 5 of them. Adreshyam means that which doesn't become object of Jnanendriyas. Always Drashta, that is Adreshyam. Agrahya means doesn't become object of Karmendriya. Agotra means it doesn't have any other cause which continues in this effect. Gotra means continuation of something. Agotra means there is no previous cause to Brahma, to Akshara, which continues in this Akshara. Avarnam meant without attributes. And Achakshu Shrotra means doesn't have Jnanendriya. Achakshu Shrotra means doesn't have organs of perception by which this world is made an object. Objectification of world happens through Jnanendriyas. Perception of world happens through Jnanendriyas because Akshara Tattva doesn't have Jnanendriyas. There is no Kartrutva, there is no doership in Akshara. Only when we identify with mind and organs of actions, we start thinking ourselves to be Karta. When I identify myself with my organs of perception, no, organs of perception will be Bhoota. When I identify myself with organ of perception, I think of myself to be Bhokta. When I identify myself with organs of action, Karmendriyas, then I think of myself to be Karta. These are two different or very subtle adhyasas. The purpose in Karma Yoga is to become better Bhokta, better Karta. It is not questioned. Kartrutva is not questioned. Bhoktrutva is not questioned. In how can I manage my Bhoktrutva better? How can I manage my Kartrutva better? That is a part of sadhana and karma yoga. But in Jnana Yoga, in the knowledge portion of it, I should question my own Bhoktrutva. I should question my own Kartrutva. And start thinking whether this Bhoktrutva remains if I don't identify with Jnanendriyas. If I don't identify with organ of perception, does this Bhoktrutva still continue? If I don't identify with organ of action, do I still feel I am Karta? Or that notion takes a hit somewhere? With Atma Lakshana, the main result should be these two. No strong feeling of enjoyership, nor the feeling of doership. Now the sixth indicator, sixth one, right? Apanipaadam. Page number 21, second paragraph. Kincha tat Apanipaadam. From there. Did you all find it? Kincha tat Apanipaadam. Kincha tat Apanipaadam karmendriya rahitam iti etat yatah evam agrahyam agrahakam cha atah nityam avinashi vibhum vividham brahmadi sthavaranta pranibhedaihi bhavati iti vibhum sarvagatam vyapakam akashavat susukshmam shabdadi sthulatva karana rahitatvat shabdadayah hi akashavayu adinam uttarottaram sthulatva karanani tad abhavat susukshmam kincha tat apanipadam. Apanipadam means karmendriya rahitam iti etat. Akshara Tattva is that which doesn't have karmendriyas, no hands and legs. Pani means hands, padam means feet, doesn't have hands and legs. That is this Akshara Tattva. Moment I understand it as aparoksha, this thought should get deepened in me that I don't have karmendriyas. I am not karmendriyas. I don't have karmendriyas. And karmendriya is mithya. See, we don't generally say I am not karmendriya. The applied side of that is whatever titles I have, whatever abilities I have, they will belong to some or the other indriya. If somebody can sing very well, that you can put it at as speech. Somebody is very good in playing the piano. That is our hands. Or any work that we do through our actions. And if you're not alert, we start defining ourselves with those titles. I am a good piano player. I am a good singer. I am a good runner. So the applied side of this Lakshana is all those titles this person doesn't take upon as his titles. And these titles are such because they are connected to ahankara. It will not allow us to sit quietly. Once that title comes in mind, it will seek recognition. I will not stop at this idea that I play good piano. Next step will be, I hope others know that I play good piano. So titles will drop or should drop, and desire to seek recognition should drop. That is the meaning of this Lakshana, Apanipaadam. Consciousness is that which doesn't have hands and legs. Yatah evam agrahyam agrahakam cha atah nityam avinashi. Since consciousness is of this nature, it is agrahyam. Agrahyam means it doesn't become an object. And agrahakam, it does not become pramata also. Pramata means the one who gains knowledge, one who gets specific knowledge, one who is going to grab. It cannot be grabbed, neither does it become grabber. So that grahakam refers to pramata. Pramata means ahankara. See, in Upanishads, you will not find the word ahankara separately. Like in Saddarshanam, that was the main word Raman Maharshi used. Aham, aham, ahankara. Here it will be given as grahya grahaka. Grahya means prameya. Grahaka means pramata. That which is an object and the one who is perceiving that object. So as pure consciousness, it doesn't become an object, neither it becomes perceiver like ahankara. Agrahyam agrahakam, such an entity which doesn't undergo any modification. It has to be nityam. If it becomes an object, it will undergo modification because rupa has come in it. The moment akara comes, moment form comes, that form has to modify. This is one lakshana of a form. The moment you say something is with form, that form thing cannot be eternal. It will undergo some modification. That's why they give example of space. Space is formless, therefore it is immutable. You find one example of a thing in this creation which has a form and does not modify. Moment a thing becomes sakara, sakara vastu will have janma. Means it will have starting point. Janma is considered as first modification. If one modification comes, all 6 modifications have to come. Asti, jayate, vardate, viparinamate, apakshiyate, vinashyati. All 6 modifications have to come. That thing which doesn't become an object that thing which is not also pramata. Aprameya, and it is not pramata. That thing is Nityam. It is eternal, avinashi. Vibhum, it's a very interesting definition given here. Vibhum is the eighth indicator. Seventh indicator was just mentioned before, Nityam. Nityam means avinashi, indestructible. Vibhum generally we translate it as all pervading or something which is big. Shankaracharya, see how he translates it. Vibhum means Vividham Brahmadi Sthavaranta Pranibedaihi Bhavati iti Vibhum. That which manifests as this whole universe, that which manifests as each and every being in this universe, starting from Brahmaji, all the way until plants and stones and other things, that is called as Vibhum. That which has become many, that is Akshara Tattva. Now we are entering true Vedanta. If you only say Akshara Tattva is Sakshi, that is not Vedanta yet. If I understand that Akshara alone is appearing as Vibhu, Akshara alone is appearing as this universe, that is Vedanta. Are there two things, Akshara and universe? The understanding is Akshara is universe is an appearance in Akshara. Akshara is a substratum in which this whole universe of names and forms is appearing. That is the meaning of Vibhum. Sarvagatam, ninth indicator is Sarvagatam. Vyapakam. Vyapakam means Akashavat, that which pervades all, that is called as Sarvagatam, like space. How should we understand this? Sarvagatam. Whatever is there, whatever is seen as world, that is pervaded by consciousness. Substratum is still consciousness. That pervades its superimposition, which is appearing as his world. It is not that Sarva is there and in Sarva, Chaitanya is pervading. Not the other way around. What will happen there is we have given independent reality to Sarva, independent reality to Jagat, and then we are giving some space to consciousness to pervade inside it. This is not in that way. Sarva is an appearance in Akshara. Because it's an appearance, that substratum pervades superimposed. Every part of that illusory snake is pervaded by the rope. So rope is Akshara and illusory snake is Jagat. So we should not say that snake is pervaded by rope with this idea that snake is real, and then you are allowing that rope to pervade it. Not in that way. What is real is rope. As Adhisthana, it pervades everything. Sarvagata. These ideas will help a lot in our thinking. Whenever we get these indicators, consciousness and Jagat, it is not pervading like floor and carpet. That you have floor also and you have carpet also. They are not two different things. Consciousness and world, the relationship of pervader and pervaded, is just the relationship between rope and illusory snake. That illusory snake doesn't have independent existence. So the example of floor and carpet is the erroneous example. Unlike floor and carpet, consciousness pervades this universe. If you take floor and carpet example, there are two independent realities. But in the case of consciousness and Jagat, one is real, another is unreal. That is a relationship of pervader and pervaded. So wherever you see the snake, there you see the rope. Wherever we see Jagat, there is consciousness. Oh, if I see Jagat, I should see consciousness there. You say, yes. But I'm trying to see, I'm not able to see. Where is consciousness? What is the answer? Pay attention to the first indicator. Adreshyam. Consciousness is that which will never become an object, so don't search for it in an object. First come to thought, then come to consciousness. In that consciousness, this object is appearing. That consciousness I am. Sarvagatam Susukshmam. Now for this indicator, you can make a small chart. It's very helpful. It will help you appreciate if you have a graphic in front of you. Write those initial letters of 5 elements. Space, S. A is air, fire, water, earth. In one horizontal line, just write this 5. SAFWE. Space, air, fire, water, earth. Now below that, write the dharma of each element, the guna of each element. So space guna is sound. Below that S, write sound. Below air, write the guna of air, which is touch. Then fire, below that you write form. That is the guna of fire. Fourth one is water. Guna of that is taste. Guna of that is taste. And last one is earth element. The guna of that is smell. Good, everybody good so far? Space, air, fire, water, earth. 5 elements. Write the corresponding gunas of each one. Sometimes when you just try to think of it, it's confusing. So writing it down is helpful. Guna of each one is sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Now go from left to right. Okay. Space has only sound. You cannot touch space. You cannot have any form in space. You don't see any form in space. Neither is there taste of space. And smell is also not there. Then if you go to air you can hear sound. You can feel air also. Touch is also there. In fact, that is the only way air is recognized. The only way to recognize air is through touch. When Mahatma Ji, he said, nice thing, Paramatma ki krupa to dekhiye. Bina bataye chhuke chala gaya. This air is something, without telling that it is come, it will just touch you and go. That is the only way to recognize air. So touch is there and sound is there. Then fire element, you can see the form of that fire. You can hear the sound. And you can touch fire also. It will burn. The point is, as we are going towards the right, the object is becoming grosser and grosser. More attributes are getting added to it. Then come to the fourth one, which is water. Water I can hear. Sound is there. I can touch water. Air element is there. Water, if you put in a cup or any container, it will have form. Form element belongs to fire. That is there. Then there is taste of water also. In fact, if you remove water, we cannot taste anything. The best example for this is this milk powder. If you just take a spoonful in your mouth, until the saliva mixes with it, you don't know what it is. So we need water to have taste, and it has all the preceding 4 qualities. Then comes earth element, which its main guna is smell. But that smell, if you tap it, there will be sound. Then you'll also have touch, you can go and touch that element, earth element. Then there is form to it. Earth element will have form. You can taste it also. And its own guna is smell. Now, just like you went left to right, glance it from right to left. Earth element, grossest, has all 5 gunas. Previous one is water, doesn't have the guna of smell. Water won't have smell. Fire won't have taste and smell. You cannot taste fire. There is no smell in fire. Then the previous one, if you come, the air element, air will not have form. Air will not have taste. Air will not have smell. That's why having it in front is helpful to keep track of. Then the last one is space. Space will not have touch. It will not have form. It will not have taste. Neither will it have smell. So space is the subtlest one amongst all the elements. Now consciousness is that which is subtler than space. Consciousness is that which is subtler than space. What it means is, think of that thing where sthula srishti is absent. Consciousness is that where sthula srishti, the gross world, is absent. Nishprapancha. This prapancha of names and forms, gross and subtle also, karana also, but predominantly gross world. That is the meaning of the word Susukshmam. This is a very powerful technique which is called as Laya Prakriya. Instead of directly going from world to consciousness, they go step by step. So if I am seeing gross world, I should be able to see it as expression of 5 elements. The point that we saw yesterday, Jiva Srishti and Ishvara Srishti. Ishvara Srishti is Panchikrita Panchamahabhuta Srishti. The world of 5 elements, the combination of 5 elements, that is Ishvara Srishti. On top of that, I have my own Ragadvesha, by which I start calling one person as friend, another person as enemy, and so on. Only when I am able to resolve that, I can start working with Ishvara Srishti. First, I have to get rid of my Jiva Srishti through all sadhanas, karma yoga, devotion. Then I am left with this Srishti to work with. That's why we say, whenever we hear these topics, right? Intellectually, I understand it. But when it comes to practice, it doesn't work. You say it will not work because we are trying to remove the wrong Srishti first. If I try to remove Ishvara Srishti and my problem is Jiva Srishti, it will not work. But our sadhana and prayer to God is, Bhagwan, keep my Jiva Srishti at least non-bothering. If you are unable to remove it fully, I'm still working towards it, sadhaka says. But even if I'm not able to remove fully, keep it to a point by which I can start thinking in this direction. That Susukshmam word should become clear to me, that there is something which is devoid of prapancha, where this entire sthul srishti is absent. That is this Susukshmam. That is what is indicated here. In the Bhashya, you see, Susukshmam Shabdadi Sthulatva Karana Rahitatva. Shabdadi means the guna of space, etc. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Moment they keep getting added, a thing becomes grosser and grosser. Shabdadayahi Akasha Vayu Adinam Uttarottaram Sthulatva Karanani Tad Abhavat Susukshmam. The addition of these indicators is the reason for grossness. If you keep removing them, an element becomes subtler and subtler. And consciousness is that which is subtler than the subtlest. So space is subtlest amongst all elements. Consciousness is subtler than space. How many indicators are done? 10. Ninth one was Sarvagatam, right? Ninth one was Sarvagatam. 10th one is Susukshmam. Anyway, you count it later. Kincha tadavyayam uktadharmatvat eva navyeti iti avyayam na hi anangasya swanga apachaya lakshano vyayah sambhavati sharirasya iva napi kosha apachaya lakshanah vyayah sambhavati rajnyah iva napi gunadvarako vyayah sambhavati agunatvat sarvatmakatvacha yad evam lakshanam bhuta yonim bhutanam karanam prithvi iva stavara jangamanam paripashyanti sarvatah atmabhutam sarvasya aksharam pashyanti dhiraha dhimantah vivekinah idrusham aksharam yaya vidyaya adhigamyate sa para vidya iti samudaya arthah. Tadavyayam, that indicator is elaborated now. Ukta dharmatvat eva navyeti iti avyayam. Whatever indicators have been pointed out so far, because of that, it is avyaya. Ukta dharmatvat means all the previous ones, Apanipaadam, Achakshushrothram. That thing which doesn't have any conditioning, that thing will not undergo any modification. Vyaya means modification. Avyaya means no modifications. Immutable, that is the nature of Akshara. Now Shankaracharya says there are three ways by which modification can come about. Three ways by which change can take place. And consciousness doesn't have any of these three things. So these three ways will not apply to consciousness. First way is, if a thing is made up of parts, if a thing is made up of parts, then those parts have to undergo modification. If parts modify, the one who has parts also will modify. Like hair is there, right? We say if hair grows gray, hair becomes gray. We say this person has gray hair. So hair is part of body, and if part of body undergoes modification, that person undergoes modification. That is the example Shankaracharya gives. Sharirasya iva. Nahi anangasya swanga apachaya lakshana vyaya sambhavati sharirasya iva. Just like the case of body, if some body part undergoes modification, the person who has abhimana in this body, that person also undergoes modification. Any body part is not well, he feels I am not well. The main point here is whatever is made up of parts has to be changing. So you find one example of a thing which is made up of parts and it doesn't remain and doesn't undergo change. You take car, for example, made up of parts. Either today or tomorrow, it will modify. Parts will start falling apart. Everything is assembled together. Whatever is assembled as parts will undergo modification. Our body is also assembled like that. different parts fitted together. Just like car goes to car mechanic, this body has to go to doctor. Some part is not well, again get it back, keep running. So that is the first reason he says. Second one is, na api kosha apachaya lakshanaha vyaya sambhavati rajnyaha eva. If there is wealth of a king, how that wealth goes up and down. Sometimes it is more, sometimes it is less. Unlike that, consciousness doesn't go, the consciousness doesn't become more or become less. This reference is in particular to one Upanishad mantra which says, na karmana vardhate no kaniyan. Consciousness is something which doesn't grow with karma. You cannot say, today I am dim consciousness. After a lot of practice and sadhana, I'll become shining consciousness. There is no dim and shining in consciousness. Dullness and sharpness is in mind, not in consciousness. So that is the second way by which a thing can modify, just like the treasury of a king. It can grow, it can reduce. Unlike that, consciousness is not affected by karma. It is something which is not changing. Na api gunadvarakaha vyayah sambhavati agunatvat. Because this consciousness is devoid of guna, there is no change coming because of addition or reduction in guna. Here, simple, you can take, if let us say somebody is having vairagya, that's one guna. But that vairagya can go up and down. But his understanding is that vairagya growing and reducing is not in Chaitanya. That is in antakarana, that is in mind. So because I am without antakarana, I am without any gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, none of those gunas affect me. That is the third way Vyaya can take place. You say, oh, this person was very sattvic before. Now he has become rajasic. What has become rajasic is his conditioning, not he has pure consciousness. Then the last indicator, Sarvatmakatvat also is said. This consciousness is that which is the Atma of all gunas. It is not affected by gunas, doesn't grow and reduce because of gunas. It is the substratum in which all gunas appear. Sarvatmakatvacha. Yet evam lakshanam, whatever is indicated as with these indicators, Bhoota Yonim, until 11th indicator, what all things were indicated for Akshara, that same Akshara is Bhoota Yonim. What is Bhoota Yonim? Origin of universe, origin of creation. Bhutanam Karanam. It is the cause of this whole universe, all beings. Like what example is given? Prithvi iva sthavara jangamana. Just like earth is the cause of all plants, trees, and animals, like that, consciousness or Akshara is the cause of this whole universe. If we take conditioning to be real, that becomes our upasana. That from Chaitanya, this whole universe has emerged. What we call as Virata Purusha. Virata Purusha, this whole creation becomes divine. In every part of creation, he is not seeing only inertness, he is able to recognize Chaitanya Tattva. Even though I don't experience it like Chaitanya appearing in my body, but he says, just like I have Atma Buddhi in this Deha, there is one Chaitanya which has Atma Buddhi in entire Jagat. Inert world is pervaded by consciousness. Both are together. You cannot separate inert from the sentient. That is his bhavana. In simple words, to make it sweeter, he looks at this whole world as Bhagwan Sharira. It has come from the same truth. So this whole universe is Bhagwan's Sharira. One Mahatmaji gives a nice example. We feel that this world is inert. When we are walking on the road, walking on the ground, we don't feel we are walking on some sentient entity. It's an inert entity. It's as if an ant gets on your Sharira. For it to go from toe to the head, it is like a parikrama. It's a big, long distance it is covering. And it must be also thinking that this is some kind of a stone. Just like I was walking on the floor, now I have gotten on another entity. How we think earth is inert, like that this ant thinks the Sharira is inert. He gave example of this, what was that? Gulliver's Travel. There are Lilliputians there, which jump on his body and start walking. This is like that we are walking on Bhagwan Sharira. Trying to have this bhavana that this world is not inert, it is pervaded by consciousness because it has emerged from that same truth. That is upasana. Paripashyanti. The first indicator you said, adreshyam. And last indicator you are saying, one who is knower of truth comes to see this truth. Paripashyanti. How does he see it? Sarvataha atma bhutam. Sarvasya aksharam pashyanti. He comes to see this truth as Atma of all beings, the self of all beings. Paripashyanti means sarvataha, without any doubt. Without any doubt, he gets this clarity. It is from this consciousness alone. This whole universe has emerged. There is no separate entity called as Jagat. It is not independent. The root of Jagat is Chaitanya. Not matter, not another atom, not some inert thing. This clarity he gets, that Akshara Tattva is Atma. This also he has understood. Dhiraha dhimantaha. Vivekinaha. Who are these dhiraha? Those who are able to recognize that formless truth, they are this dhiraha. In one commentator he writes, Adreshyam pashyanti iti dhiraha. The one who has understood this adreshyam clearly, that person is dhiraha. Kathopanishad it was said, such a person is Ashcharyam. Ashcharyo jnata kushalanushishtah. That he came to understand or see that truth which never becomes an object. Although his eyes are seeing this world, he is able to understand this Akshara is the origin of this world. One who understands it, that person is dhiraha. Another meaning of dhira is he has understood it through vritti vyapti, not phala vyapti. When his attention shifts to the self, that thought is very well taken root. Vritti vyapti has happened to shift attention to the self. But he is not seeing the self as something different from himself. He doesn't say, I know the self. He becomes the self. That is when it will be called as Paravidya. What is Paravidya? That knowledge which takes place through Vritti Vyapti and not Phala Vyapti. What is Aparavidya? That knowledge which takes place through Vritti Vyapti and Phala Vyapti. Vritti Vyapti, Phala Vyapti is clear, right? We had seen this in Vedanta Sara. If I need to know this watch, first I need thought of this watch. My mind has to take shape of this watch thought of this watch, that is called as vritti vyapti, thought pervading this object. But it will not stop there. Next statement will be, now I know this watch. That knowing part is said by ahankara. Knowing part is said by chidabhasa or ahankara. I know this. That is called as phalavyapti. In case of consciousness, in case of paravidya, only vritti vyapti is sufficient. I have to shift my attention away from anatma. That atma which is there, it is of the nature of consciousness. So I don't need reflected consciousness to reveal original consciousness. I don't need phalavyapti to reveal atma which is Chaitanya Swarupa. Means ahankara need not say, I know atma, I know Brahma. The understanding will be, I am Brahma, in which this ahankara is appearing. But world outside, it is not self-shining, it is not consciousness. Name and form only this ahankara can see. So that in those cases, you need vritti vyapti also, like in the case of this watch, we need vritti vyapti. This watch is not self-shining. Unless I tell this watch is there, watch will not tell I am there. So for illumining jada vastu, I need vritti and I need ahankara. This is where Raman Maharshi says, do you say world is there, or does world say I am there? It's a very powerful statement. Huh? He says, world doesn't come and tell us I am there. It is this ahankara which goes out and tells me that there is Jagat. If this ahankara becomes quiet, at least in meditation, we can wipe off the whole Jagat. In fact, that is the purpose of meditation, to train this ahankara such that it doesn't fall towards Jagat. All of this is the meaning of the word dhiraha. Who is dhiraha? Adreshyam pashyanti. That which is adreshyam, that he understood as Atma of himself, Atma of all beings. And through vritti vyapti, he was able to understand this truth, not phalavyapti. That didn't make Atma as another object. He doesn't say, I know Atma, I know Brahman. Idrusham aksharam. In this way, whatever Akshara Tattva is revealed, that is called as paravidya. Yaya vidyaya adhigamyate sa paravidya samudaya artha. This is the meaning of the whole discussion we had so far. It's a very important mantra. Main thing we should pay attention to is, while I am reflecting on the indicators, what can I do such that attention shifts to Atma? And out of all these 12 indicators, if anything is unclear, I have to go back and reflect on that particular indicator. If I say I have understood Paravidya, I have understood Vedanta, then all indicators should be according to what Shankaracharya defined. Means, without quoting Bhashya, if somebody says, what is Bhoota Yonim? I should be able to explain for myself. What is the meaning of the word Bhoota Yonim? What is the meaning of the word Apanipaadam, Achakshushrothram? And that indicator is not of some akshara. That indicator is me, myself. Whenever knowledge takes place in this way, that is called as Paravidya. Now the next mantra is an elaboration on the last indicator, Yad Bhoota Yonim. Bhoota Yonim means origin of universe, the substratum or the cause of all bhutas. There is a Purva Paksha who says, how can Akshara Tattva be Bhoota Yoni? His point is, Akshara is not cause of this universe. and he has his own logic. To refute that logic, to give a different perspective to Purva Paksha, next mantra will give three different standpoints. Three different examples will be given to demonstrate how Akshara alone is a cause of this universe. Very sweet examples there, but there is a nice background to it. How this logic is discussed and how you can refute other person's logic just by giving counter example. So those points we will see in the next session. But I hope all of you remember the reflection question. What is the reflection question? Right in the beginning we saw, what is Brahmakara Vritti? How to invoke it? How to strengthen it? And what does it do? What is the karya of Brahmakara Vritti? Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Hari Om